Hi guys, it's RBB, back with another 5-minute tutorial in Photoshop. Today we're going to see if we can cover the brush. Now the brush is probably one of the most robust tools in Photoshop and one that we could probably spend hours on, but I'm going to try to see if I can get through the brush and the basic controls in the control panel in 5 minutes. And now that is really a challenge, and if anybody tells you that it took me like 20 tries to keep it all into 5 minutes, that is a vicious rumor and completely true. Okay, so we're gonna try again. We're gonna try to get this in 5 minutes. It's a lot. Stick with me. Okay, so let's, we've got this all set up. We've got our 8.5 by 11 document. I know it's not a piece of paper. It looks like a piece of paper, so sometimes I call it a piece of paper. Get over yourself. It is just a clean white background of our document. I don't want to draw on this clean white background because then I'd have to have a whole new document. So I'm going to create a new layer, almost like a little sheet of onion skin or transparency, so that I can make changes on the fly and work non-destructively. So I clicked the little plus icon right down here, and it created a new layer for me on top of my white background, so that when I make some marks here, if I change my mind or say, hey, I want to show you something different, I can either turn this layer off by poking it in the eye, boink, okay, and it becomes invisible, or I can say, I hate this guy, he's got to go, and I can click on the trash can or drag it to the trash can, and that layer is gone. So let's set up a new layer, ready to go. Okay, and here we go. As I said, I can do this. I know I can. Okay, 5 minutes, start. All right, real quickly, this is our brush tool, and our brush is basically a stencil. So our brush profile is going to make whatever shape the stencil is. And we've got lots and lots of brushes to choose from pine trees and snowflakes to plain old circles. So this is our most important tool right here in our controls. And this one has a lot of information. It tells us that our brush is up and down and is writing right to left. This is our size. We can choose the size of the pixels we want, either by typing it in or making the slider go. Ooh, big brush. And underneath is our hardness slider. If a brush is 100% hard, it's going to fill in the entire stencil of the brush, the profile of the brush, from edge to edge, 100% opaque. If we lower the softness, it is going to create a semi-transparent gradient, which makes the edge look softer. Okay, go ahead and make a new layer here. So you will decide if you want your brush to be very hard and crisp or soft edged. The blending modes right here is well above our pay grade today, but it's basically how layers will behave with each other. And the brush can also behave in a different manner. And we'll talk about the brush's behavior in another time. The opacity is just that. It's how opaque is your brush. At 100% opaque, this is the brush stroke that I make. If I lower the opacity, of course, I will have a less opaque brush stroke, which then, of course, I can build up. We're going to skip this little waffle for a second. The flow is how much of this paint is coming out. So if I have 20% opaque paint coming out at 100% flow, or I have 100% opaque paint coming out at a lower flow, it's just going to have a slightly different result, and you can test those and see what you like. Smoothing will help to smooth out your line. So if I have a straight line, or if I'm drawing a straight line and I'm a little bit jittery, Photoshop will go ahead, if I increase the smoothing, change colors real quick, Photoshop will change the brush to be smoother, but it slows down the computing, and honestly, in several decades of Photoshop, I have never used this, but depends on your style of work, I guess. All right, this little target guy right here, this is our pressure sensitivity. If we turn this on and you are using a pressure sensitive tablet, whoop, you can make, looks like a balloon animal. You can make your, mine is not actually set to be very sensitive. That looks funny. You can make bigger and smaller lines, have your lines taper off by how hard you're pressing down on your pressure sensitive stylus. This waffle I said I was going to skip, this is the same thing for opacity. So I can have pressure sensitive opacity. So depending how hard I push down, it will be more opaque and larger, closer to its full size. All right, that's pretty cool. And the last one, I think I might even be able to do it this time. I mean, what are you talking about? This is the only time I've ever done this. This is the symmetry tool. The symmetry tool, you can choose all these different symmetrical options, and once you have the symmetrical option and say I like this, this one is just vertical. So I'm going to make my brush smaller, and I'm doing this on the fly. I told you could do it up here with the slider. I'm doing it on the fly by using the open and close brackets above your enter key, and making my brush bigger or smaller. So with this, I can draw something symmetrical. Ooh, this is why I make the big bucks. Whoop, 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 whoop. Okay, look at that. Okay, that is the symmetry tool. Very cool. You can do any kind of symmetry all the way up to like a mandala and pick the number of edges you want. So I have gotten so far ahead of where I did this in the past, not that I've ever done this video before, so I can go on and tell you about how we can choose colors. So we've really covered all of these guys across the top right here. I'm going to turn symmetry off and make a new layer. If you want to choose a different color, which of course you do, because who wants to use just one color crayon? There's lots of ways to do it. One is down here at the bottom of the tool set. You'll see your foreground and background color. You can click on your foreground color right here. The color picker will show up. Here is your range of colors, hue, saturation, and value for every color in the rainbow. You can also dial it in by way more stuff than we care about right now. So I like purple, let's use purple. Okay, so there's my purple. I can also change colors over here in the color menu, which a lot of people like to leave out on their desk for changing colors quickly. All right, and remember you've got your whole range of hue and saturation. And there you go. I think we've covered all of these tools and how to change color and sizes and pressure all in 5 minutes. Yes! I mean, of course, easy peasy. Okay. Another time I would like to cover some things such as how to make a custom brush and how to use our blending modes and some more in-depth stuff. But if you're just opening Photoshop and you're like, all right, I saw the beginning tutorial on how to open Photoshop and make this new document, and I want to draw some lines, what are my options? Start with your brush tool. And hopefully in this 5 minutes, you've gained enough information to at least start drawing. All right. Well, I appreciate you guys being here. Let me know in the comments if there's anything you'd like to see me cover, and I will see you guys next time. Be well.